A curious girl found an abandoned dog in a forgotten corner of the market. What he did next moved everyone and changed the course of their lives. The bustling Pike Place Market in Seattle was awakening with the first rays of sun as vendors prepared their stalls for another day of work. Among the morning hustle, Sarah Thompson carefully arranged the flowers at her stand, inherited from her mother, Margaret. Her expert hands intertwined the stems with the same dedication her mother had taught her over the years. "Mommy, Mommy!" The sweet voice of Lily, her 5-year-old daughter, echoed through the market corridors. Sarah smiled as she watched her daughter running toward her, her pigtails dancing in the wind and her kindergarten uniform perfectly pressed. Behind her, Michael, her husband, walked calmly, holding Lily's small pink backpack. "Careful, sweetheart," warned Sarah, catching her daughter in a hug. "Ready to help Mommy before school?" Lily nodded enthusiastically. It was her favorite routine. Every morning before her dad took her to school, she spent a few minutes at the flower stand, helping her mother arrange the bouquets and, above all, enjoying the magical atmosphere of the market. "Sarah, those sunflowers you sold me yesterday were beautiful," commented Mrs. Baker, who owned the neighboring fruit stand. "My granddaughter was so excited about the bouquet she actually cried." "That's because my Lily has a special gift for choosing the prettiest flowers," responded Sarah, stroking her daughter's hair. The little girl smiled proudly, but her attention soon drifted to something no adult had noticed. In a secluded corner of the market, near the dumpsters, a movement caught her eye, her curious eyes fixed on a large, furry figure hiding in the shadows. "Daddy, what's that?" whispered Lily, gently tugging on Michael's sleeve. Michael squinted, trying to make out what his daughter was pointing at. "Looks like a dog, sweetheart, but better stay back." But Lily had already taken a step forward, her childish heart beating with a mixture of curiosity and compassion. As her eyes adjusted to the shadows, she could better distinguish the animal. It was a German shepherd, large and majestic despite its neglected state. The dog raised its head at her presence, and their eyes met. "He's sad, Daddy," declared Lily with a certainty that only children possess. "Like flowers when we don't give them water." Sarah approached worriedly, observing the scene carefully. The dog, though large, showed obvious signs of abandonment. Its coat was matted and dirty, and its ribs were visible beneath its skin. "Who does it belong to?" asked Sarah aloud, as several nearby vendors approached with curiosity. "Must be old Jack's," muttered Mrs. Baker, lowering her voice. "That man always keeps dogs chained near his warehouse, uses them to guard his merchandise, but when they're no longer useful..." Lily wasn't paying attention to the adults' conversation. Her eyes were fixed on the dogs, establishing a silent connection that transcended words. With the innocence of her age, she took out a piece of sweet bread her mother had packed for her recess. "Lily, no..." Michael began to warn, but stopped when he saw how the dog, far from showing aggression, lowered its head in a gesture of submission and gratitude when the girl offered the bread from a safe distance. "His name is Thunder," announced Lily with conviction, as if the name had emerged from some magical place in her imagination. "Thunder?" repeated Sarah, exchanging a meaningful look with Michael. "Yes, like the superhero," explained Lily with complete naturalness. "Because he's big and strong, but needs help to be happy." The moment was interrupted by the sound of a distant bell. "Sweetheart, it's time for school," Michael reminded her gently. Lily nodded, but before leaving, she turned to the dog one last time. "I'll be back tomorrow, Thunder," she promised quietly. "I'll bring you more bread." As Michael and Lily walked away toward the car, Sarah observed how the dog followed her little daughter with its gaze. There was something in those brown eyes, a mixture of sadness and hope that stirred something in her heart. However, she couldn't imagine that this casual encounter at the market would be the beginning of a story that would change not only their lives, but those of the entire community. Mrs. Baker approached Sarah, placing a wrinkled hand on her shoulder. "Your girl has a special gift, Sarah. Not just for flowers, but for seeing goodness where others only see problems." Sarah nodded thoughtfully as she began arranging flower bouquets for the day's sales, but her mind kept returning to the image of her daughter and the abandoned dog, and an inexplicable feeling settled in her chest, as if something important was about to begin, something that would change their lives forever. The following days brought a new routine to Pike Place Market. Each morning, Lily arrived with her little lunchbox filled not only with her lunch, but also with extra pieces of bread and some kibble she had convinced her mother to buy. Thunder, as if understanding the little girl's schedule, waited patiently in the same corner, his eyes lighting up at the sight of the girl with her dancing pigtails. "Good morning, my beautiful Thunder," Lily greeted each morning, while Sarah watched from her flower stand, divided between maternal concern and admiration for her daughter's kind heart. One particularly sunny morning, while Lily was sharing her breakfast with Thunder, an imposing figure emerged from among the market stalls. Jack Morrison, a man with a stern appearance and penetrating gaze, stopped abruptly upon seeing the scene. "What's that girl doing with my dog?" His harsh voice cut through the air like a knife, causing several vendors to turn and look. Sarah hurried to her daughter, instinctively placing herself between Lily and Jack. "Mr. Morrison, my daughter is just being kind to the animal." Jack let out a dry laugh. "Kind? Dogs don't need kindness, woman. They're working tools, nothing more." Lily, clinging to her mother's skirt, watched the scene with large, worried eyes. Thunder, who until then had been relaxed, visibly tensed at Jack's presence. "Wait a minute," intervened Mrs. Baker, approaching with the dignity that only years can give. "This dog is yours? Because it's been abandoned here for weeks, without food or water." Jack drew himself up, his face hardening. "What I do with my animals is my business, Mrs. Baker. And if you're also concerned, you should mind your own business." At that moment, Dr. Anderson, the retired veterinarian who had a small clinic near the market, approached the group. He had been observing Thunder for days, noticing the subtle changes that Lily's care had brought about in the animal. "Mr. Morrison," he began in a measured voice, "this dog shows signs of having been a competition animal. The structure of his body, his posture. He's not a simple guard dog." Jack paled slightly, something that didn't go unnoticed by Sarah. Dr. Anderson continued, "In fact, he reminds me very much of the dogs from the Seattle agility circuit. Weren't you involved in those events a few years ago?" The market seemed to hold its breath. Jack clenched his fists, his knuckles whitening. "That's ancient history," he muttered between his teeth. Lily, gathering all her childish courage, stepped forward. "Thunder is a superhero," she declared, with the unshakable conviction of a 5-year-old. "And superheroes need love to be strong." The simplicity of her words caused hidden smiles among the vendors, but also seemed to touch something in Jack, who for a moment dropped his mask of hardness. "Thunder," he murmured, looking at the dog with a mix of emotions on his face. "Is that what you named him, girl?" Lily nodded. "Because he's brave and good, like in the movies, Doctor." Anderson seized the moment to move closer to Thunder, examining him with an expert eye. "This dog has potential, Mr. Morrison. With proper care, he could regain his former form." Sarah, who had remained silent, observing the interaction, noticed something in Jack's expression. A flash of what appeared to be remorse quickly masked by his usual hardness. "Keep him," Jack suddenly blurted out, turning away. "He's no use to me anymore anyway." And without another word, he walked away between the market stalls, leaving behind a silence filled with unanswered questions. Lily jumped for joy, hugging Thunder, who responded with a soft whimper of satisfaction. Sarah, however, exchanged a worried look with Dr. Anderson. "This isn't over," murmured the veterinarian, thoughtfully stroking his grey beard. "I've known Jack for years, and he never gives anything away without having a hidden motive." "What do you suggest we do?" asked Sarah, watching how her daughter shared her joy with Thunder. "For now, let's take the dog to my clinic," responded Dr. Anderson. "I need to examine him properly, and besides, I have some interesting stories to tell you about our friend Thunder's past and his former owner." As the group headed to Dr. Anderson's clinic, no one noticed Jack Morrison's figure watching them from the shadows of his warehouse, his eyes shining with a mixture of regret and determination, while he held in his hands an old yellowed newspaper clipping showing a majestic German shepherd winning a prestigious agility championship. Dr. Anderson's clinic was a modest but cozy space, with walls covered in photographs of dogs and their smiling owners. The veteran veterinarian guided Sarah, Lily, and Thunder inside, while Mrs. Baker followed, determined not to miss any detail of the story that was about to unfold. "Please sit down," Dr. Anderson indicated, pointing to a small, worn but clean sofa. Lily settled next to Thunder, who seemed strangely familiar with the atmosphere of a veterinary clinic. "Before I examine our friend," began Dr. Anderson, rummaging through an old filing cabinet, There's something you should know. His wrinkled hands extracted a yellowed folder. Do you see this photograph? Sarah leaned in to observe the image the veterinarian was showing them. In it, a majestic German shepherd leaped over obstacles in what appeared to be a professional competition. The dog in the photograph radiated vitality and elegance. Is that Thunder? Asked Sarah, surprised by the resemblance. Dr. Anderson nodded. Indeed. Although back then he was called Valley Champion, he was one of the most outstanding dogs in the National Agility Circuit 3 years ago. Jack Morrison was his trainer and owner. Lily gently stroked Thunder as she listened. Is that why Thunder is so special, Doctor? Exactly, little one. Dr. Anderson adjusted his glasses before continuing. But there's more to this story. Jack wasn't always the bitter man we know. He was a respected trainer dedicated to his dogs. Everything changed after the accident. Sarah and Mrs. Baker exchanged intrigued looks. What accident? They asked almost in unison. During the national championship, Thunder, or Champion as he was called then, had a fall during the final competition. It wasn't anything serious, but it was enough for them to lose the title. Dr. Anderson paused, his eyes lost in memories. Jack had bet everything on that competition. He had debts and the prize was his only way out. Poor animal, murmured Mrs. Baker, observing Thunder with new eyes. The saddest part, continued Dr. Anderson, is that the dog recovered completely. But Jack, he changed. He became distant, cold. He started to see his dogs only as instruments to make money. Lily, who had been unusually quiet, suddenly stood up. But Thunder is still a champion, right, Doctor? He just needs someone to believe in him. Dr. Anderson smiled at the innocent wisdom of the child. You're right, Lily. In fact, the veterinarian went to a drawer and took out a flyer. In 2 months, there will be a dog show in the city centre. It's not an official competition, but we could enter Thunder, exclaimed Lily, her eyes shining with excitement. Sarah, however, showed concern. Dr. Anderson, are you sure? Thunder has been through a lot, and besides, we don't know if Jack has really given up on him. The veterinarian stood up and began to gently examine Thunder. The dog is malnourished and needs care, but he has no permanent injuries. With love, good nutrition, and some training, he paused to look meaningfully at Lily, and I think he already has the best possible trainer. Me? Lily's eyes widened like saucers. The bond you've created with Thunder is special, little one. Sometimes love is the best training. Dr. Anderson turned to Sarah. Besides, participating in the show could be a way to legally secure custody of Thunder. If we can demonstrate that he's well cared for and happy. At that moment, the clinic's doorbell rang and Michael rushed in. Sarah, Lily, I heard about what happened in the market. Is everyone okay? More than okay, Daddy, Lily responded enthusiastically. Thunder's going to live with us and we're going to participate in a show. Michael looked at his wife, who nodded softly. Honey, I think our family just got bigger. As the family discussed the practical details with Dr. Anderson, no one noticed a figure watching them from outside the clinic. Jessica Parker, a well-known local television presenter, had witnessed the entire scene at the market and was now observing with journalistic interest. In her mind, a headline was already forming. The girl who restored hope to a fallen champion. Dr. Anderson handed Sarah a list of care instructions and medications needed for Thunder. Come every week to check his progress. And Lily? He crouched down to the girl's height. You'll be my special assistant in Thunder's recovery, okay? Lily nodded solemnly, while Thunder rested his head on her small shoulder, as if sealing a silent pact between them. The adventure was just beginning, and no one could imagine how this story of love and redemption would soon capture the heart of the entire city. Thunder's first day in his new home brought with it a mix of emotions and challenges. The modest Thompson family house, with its small backyard and peach-colored walls, became the scene of a moving transformation. You'll sleep here, Thunder, Lily announced proudly, showing him a dog bed that Michael had hastily bought on the way home. She had placed it strategically in a corner of the living room, next to the window overlooking the garden. Sarah watched with a mixture of tenderness and concern as Lily guided Thunder through every corner of the house, introducing each space as if it were a palace. And this is the kitchen, where Mommy makes the best pancakes in the world. And over there is the garden, where we can play every day. The German shepherd followed the girl with cautious steps, his eyes alert but showing no signs of aggression. It was as if he understood that this was his opportunity to start anew. "Sarah!" Jessica Parker's voice resonated from the other side of the fence. The television presenter was holding her tablet and wore a professional smile. "Could we talk for a moment?" Sarah exchanged a look with Michael before going out to the garden. "Ms. Parker, what brings you here?" "Please, call me Jessica." The journalist activated the recorder on her tablet. "I'm preparing a report on inspiring stories in our community and what I witnessed today at the market. It's exactly what we need in these times." Michael joined the conversation, placing a protective hand on his wife's shoulder. "We're not looking for publicity, Ms. Parker." "I understand," Jessica responded softly, "but think about it. Your story could inspire others to adopt abandoned animals. Besides," she lowered her voice, "I understand you're planning to participate in the dog show. A little media attention could help secure legal custody of Thunder." Inside the house, Lily had begun her first training session with Thunder. With a treat in her hand and her heart full of hope, she tried to teach him basic tricks. "Sit, Thunder," she asked in a sweet voice. To her surprise and delight, the dog obeyed instantly, his perfect posture revealing his previous training. "Mommy, Daddy, look!" Lily exclaimed excitedly, running towards the door. "Thunder knows how to do tricks." Jessica Parker seized the moment to take out her phone and capture some discreet photos. The image of little Lily next to the majestic German Shepherd was truly captivating. "Your daughter has a special gift," Jessica commented to Sarah. "Have you thought about her participating in youth canine training programs? I know several specialists who would be delighted to—" "One moment," Sarah interrupted firmly. "We appreciate your interest, but Lily is very young for that kind of media exposure." However, the conversation was interrupted by a sound that surprised everyone. Lily's crystalline laughter mixed with a playful bark. Thunder, apparently inspired by the girl's enthusiasm, had begun to show his repertoire of tricks spontaneously. Sit, down, spin, and even an elegant paw shake. "This is incredible," murmured Jessica, discreetly recording with her phone. "The dog hasn't lost his training." Dr. Anderson, who had arrived for a follow-up visit, observed the scene from the entrance with a satisfied smile. "Not only has he not lost it," he commented, "but he's responding to commands that normally require weeks of practice. Lily has a natural talent for connecting with him." The girl, oblivious to the adult's conversation, continued her impromptu training session. "Thunder, do you want to see my room? I have a superhero poster you're going to love." As Lily guided Thunder upstairs, Sarah turned to Jessica with a determined expression. "If we're going to do this, it will be on our terms. Lily's safety and well-being are our priority." Jessica nodded, putting away her phone. "Of course, how about we start with a simple story on the local news? We could focus on the dog show and how a 5-year-old is helping a dog regain his confidence." Michael, who had remained thoughtful, finally spoke. "On one condition. We want the importance of responsible adoption and good treatment of animals to be discussed as well." "Deal," smiled Jessica, extending her hand. "I think this story could change more lives than we imagine." From upstairs came Lily's voice, who was apparently reading a story to Thunder. The dog, lying next to his little trainer, listened attentively, his bright eyes fixed on the girl who had restored his hope. Dr. Anderson approached Sarah and whispered, "Get ready. When this story comes to light, Jack Morrison will surely want to give his version of events." Sarah nodded, aware that the path they had chosen would not be easy. But looking at her daughter and Thunder, she knew that every challenge they faced would be worth it. The news aired on Channel 8's nightly broadcast right after the weather report. Jessica Parker, with her characteristic professional voice, presented the story that had captured her journalistic heart. "Tonight, we bring you a special story from the heart of Seattle. Lily Thompson, a 5-year-old girl, and Thunder, a German Shepherd with a past in sports competitions, show us that love can transform lives." The Thompson family watched the broadcast from their living room, Lily sitting on the floor next to Thunder, who seemed especially attentive to the images on the screen. "Look, Thunder, we're on TV," exclaimed Lily, clapping excitedly as she saw herself on the screen feeding her furry friend. The report showed scenes from the market, interviews with Mrs. Baker and other vendors, and culminated with images of Lily and Thunder practicing in the garden. The story was beautifully narrated, emphasizing the message of love and responsibility towards animals. And so a 5-year-old girl teaches us that compassion has no age, Jessica concluded. Lily and Thunder are now preparing for the upcoming Seattle Dog Show, where they will demonstrate that second chances can turn into triumphs. As soon as the broadcast ended, the house phone began ringing incessantly. Friends, family, and strangers called to congratulate them and offer their support. "Sarah," called Michael from the kitchen, holding his cell phone, "Lily's school principal wants us to do a special presentation during Animal Awareness Week." Sarah smiled, but her expression changed when she saw a message on her own phone. It was from Dr. Anderson. Jack Morrison saw the report. "Hi's coming to the clinic." "Mommy, can we take Thunder to school tomorrow?" asked Lily, oblivious to her parents' tension. "My friends want to meet him." "We'll see, sweetheart," Sarah replied, exchanging a worried look with Michael. "We need to talk to your teacher first." At that moment, the doorbell rang. It was Mrs. Baker, who arrived breathlessly with a newspaper in hand. "You have to see this," she exclaimed, extending the local paper. In the society section, there was an extensive article about Thunder and his history in the competition circuit, including photographs from his glory days. "But that's not all," Mrs. Baker continued, lowering her voice so Lily wouldn't hear. "They say Jack is furious. He was seen at Joe's bar talking about ownership documents and whatnot." Sarah put a hand to her chest, worried. However, her attention was caught by a touching scene. Lily had begun her nightly routine with Thunder, gently brushing his fur while telling him about her plans for the show. "And you'll wear a blue ribbon, Thunder," the girl explained seriously, "because blue is the color of superheroes." The dog, patiently reclining, looked at Lily with absolute devotion. His transformation in recent weeks had been remarkable. His coat shone, he had gained weight, and his eyes reflected a joy that seemed lost forever. "You know what?" Mrs. Baker intervened, observing the scene. "You should record Lily's training sessions with Thunder. Show his progress, share it on social media. If Jack tries anything, we'll have proof of the animal's well-being." Michael nodded, taking out his phone to record the current moment. Lily had begun practicing new tricks with Thunder, using the techniques Dr. Anderson had taught her. "Very good, Thunder," the girl said in a sweet but firm voice. "Now let's do the special trick." To everyone's amazement, Thunder executed a series of perfectly coordinated movements, a spin, followed by an elegant jump and a final bow. "That's one of the movements from professional competitions," exclaimed Mrs. Baker. "The dog remembers his training." Sarah, moved, noticed something else. The way Thunder looked at Lily wasn't that of a trained dog obeying commands, but of a friend responding to love with love. "Perhaps," she reflected aloud, "this show is more important than we thought. Not just to secure custody of Thunder, but to demonstrate that an animal's true value isn't in the prizes it can win." The sound of a car braking abruptly in front of the house interrupted the moment. Through the window, they could see Jessica Parker hurriedly getting out of her vehicle. "Sarah," she called from the garden, "we need to talk." "It's about Jack Morrison and the real reason he abandoned the competitions." Sarah let Jessica Parker into the living room, while Michael took Lily to her room to prepare her for bed. Thunder, however, remained in the living room, as if sensing that the conversation about to unfold had to do with his past. "Sorry for the hour," Jessica apologized, pulling a folder from her briefcase. "But after the report, I received information that changes the whole story." She spread several old newspaper clippings on the coffee table. "What is all this?" asked Sarah, sitting down next to Mrs. Baker, who had stayed to hear the news. "The real story of why Jack Morrison left the competition circuit," Jessica responded, pointing to a particular article. "It wasn't just because of Thunder's fall in the national championship. The photographs showed a younger Jack smiling, surrounded by trophies and award-winning dogs. In one of them, he appeared hugging a sweet-faced woman holding Thunder, then a puppy. "This is Linda Morrison," Jessica explained. "She was Jack's wife and the real trainer of the dogs. According to my sources, she had a special gift with animals very similar to what Lily shows." Sarah and Mrs. Baker exchanged surprised looks as Jessica continued. "Linda developed a unique training method based on love and patience. The dogs didn't just compete, they formed true bonds with her. Thunder was her last project before—" Jessica paused, searching for the right words. "Linda fell seriously ill shortly before the national championship. Jack, desperate due to the debts from medical treatments, pushed Thunder to compete, even though the dog was clearly affected by Linda's absence." That's why the fall, Sarah murmured, beginning to understand. Thunder was suffering as much as Jack. Exactly, Jessica nodded. After Linda passed away, Jack changed completely. He abandoned his wife's training method and began to see dogs only as means to make money. Thunder, who had remained still next to the sofa, let out a soft whimper, as if the memories affected him too. But there's more, Jessica continued, pulling out a more recent document. The city's pet adoption center is interested in the story. They want Lily and Thunder to be the ambassadors for their new responsible adoption campaign. At that moment, small footsteps were heard coming down the stairs. Lily appeared in her pajamas, holding her teddy bear. "Mommy, Thunder is sad," the girl said with concern. "I can feel it." Sarah was surprised. It was true. The dog showed a melancholic expression they hadn't seen before. "Come here, sweetheart," Sarah called to her daughter. Lily approached and sat next to Thunder, who immediately rested his head on the girl's lap. "You know what's most extraordinary?" Jessica intervened, observing the scene. "Lily instinctively uses the same techniques that Linda developed. That special connection, that way of communicating with Thunder. It's as if Linda had sent Lily," whispered Mrs. Baker, always quick to see divine signs in events. Sarah noticed that her daughter had begun to hum softly while petting Thunder, a childish melody that seemed to instantly calm the dog. "Jessica," Sarah said after a moment of reflection, "do you think we should talk to Jack? Show him that Linda's legacy is alive in the way Lily connects with Thunder." "It could be dangerous," Mrs. Baker warned. "That man is very bitter." "Or it could be exactly what he needs," Jessica replied. Seeing that Linda's method, her love for animals, is still alive through an innocent child, Lily, oblivious to the adults' conversation, had begun to tell Thunder a bedtime story, something about a superhero dog that saved other animals with the power of love. "I have a scheduled interview with Jack tomorrow," Jessica revealed. "He's coming thinking we'll talk about his golden years in competitions. He doesn't know I know the truth about Linda." "Be careful," Sarah warned. "The most painful secrets are the ones we find hardest to face." At that moment, Michael came down the stairs with a concerned expression. "I just got a message from Dr. Anderson. Jack has filed a formal lawsuit claiming ownership of Thunder." Silence fell heavily in the room, broken only by Lily's sweet voice, still telling her story, oblivious to the drama unfolding around her. "Don't worry," Jessica said with determination. "The truth always finds its way. And this time, it has the form of a little 5-year-old girl and her superhero dog." Jessica Parker's office at Channel 8 was a modern and bright space, with walls decorated with photographs of her most memorable interviews. That morning, however, the journalist felt a special tension as she prepared the recording equipment. Jack Morrison would arrive at any moment. "Is everything ready?" she asked her cameraman, Robert, who nodded as he adjusted the lights. The sound of firm footsteps in the hallway announced Jack's arrival. He entered with the rigid posture of someone preparing for battle, carrying a worn portfolio under his arm. "Mr. Morrison, thank you for coming," Jessica greeted, gesturing to a chair in front of the camera. "Would you like some coffee before we start?" "I prefer to get to the point," Jack responded dryly. "I suppose you want to talk about my years in canine competitions." Jessica nodded, activating the recording. "Actually, I'd like to start there. You revolutionized the circuit with a unique training method." "The method wasn't mine," Jack interrupted, and for a moment, his mask of hardness cracked. "It was Linda's." Jessica seized the opening. "Tell me about her." Jack opened his portfolio and took out an old photograph. In it, Linda smiled while training a young Thunder, using not a leash, but music and treats. "Linda believed that every dog had its own song," Jack began, his voice softening as he remembered. "She said she didn't train dogs, but danced with them. Thunder was her masterpiece." Meanwhile, in the playground of Evergreen Elementary School, Lily was participating in her first presentation with Thunder. The principal had organized a special assembly on animal care, and the little girl was the guest of honor. "Thunder wasn't bad," Lily explained to her amazed classmates, while the German Shepherd perfectly executed each command. "He was just sad and needed love." Sarah and Michael watched from the side, recording everything with their phones. Dr. Anderson was also present, noting with professional satisfaction how Thunder had regained not only his physical health, but also his spirit. Back at the interview, Jessica showed Jack the video of Lily and Thunder practicing in the garden. "Do you notice anything familiar about the girl's technique?" she asked gently. Jack leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the screen. Lily hummed as she guided Thunder through the exercises, exactly as Linda used to do. "It's impossible," he murmured. She couldn't know. "Love has its own memory," Jessica suggested. Thunder recognized in Lily the same spirit that Linda had. Jack abruptly stood up, walking to the window. "I filed that lawsuit because Thunder is legally mine. I have the papers, the competition records. But is that what Linda would have wanted?" The question hit Jack like a wave. His shoulders slumped as he pulled something else from his portfolio, a worn notebook with Linda's elegant handwriting. "Her training diary," he explained in a broken voice. Her last wish was for Thunder to find a home where he could be loved, not just admired for his abilities. At the school, Lily had begun teaching her classmates how to gently approach a dog. Thunder, patient and noble, allowed the children to pet him under the little girl's attentive supervision. "You have to listen with your heart," Lily explained, unknowingly repeating the same words Linda used to use. "Dogs speak with love." Jessica seized Jack's moment of vulnerability. "The dog show is in 3 weeks. Instead of fighting for custody of Thunder, why don't you help Lily prepare him? You know his potential better than anyone." "Help?" Jack let out a bitter laugh. "After everything I've done?" "Linda believed in second chances," Jessica responded softly. "Thunder is having his, why not you?" At that moment, Robert rushed into the office. "Jessica, you have to see this." He showed his phone where a viral video was playing, Lily and Thunder at the school, performing a perfect routine while the girl sang a children's song. Jack approached to look, and his eyes moistened as he recognized the melody. It was the same one Linda used to hum during her training sessions. "The universe has mysterious ways of healing wounds," Jessica commented, observing Jack's reaction. "Perhaps this is your opportunity to honor Linda's legacy." Jack took Linda's diary, his fingers caressing the worn cover. "I'd have to start by asking for forgiveness," he murmured. "Sometimes," Jessica replied, turning off the camera, "forgiveness is the first step towards redemption." The afternoon light streamed through the office windows, casting long shadows that seemed to unite past and present, as Jack Morrison began to consider the possibility that perhaps Linda's true legacy wasn't in the trophies won, but in the heart of a little girl who, unknowingly, had recovered. Not just a dog, but also a part of the love he thought was lost forever. The central plaza of Seattle was shining under the morning sun as Lily and Thunder practiced their routine for the show. Sarah watched from a nearby bench, recording their progress with her phone, when a familiar figure appeared at the opposite end of the plaza. Jack Morrison, dressed with a neatness that contrasted with his usual image at the market, stopped at a distance, observing the practice with a mix of emotions on his face. In his hands, he held Linda's diary and an old canvas bag that had seen better days. Lily was the first to notice him. "Mommy, it's the man from the market," she whispered, instinctively hugging Thunder, who surprisingly showed no signs of unease. Sarah stood up, prepared for any situation, but Jessica Parker, who had coordinated this meeting, appeared just in time. "Good morning, everyone," the journalist greeted with her characteristic professional cordiality. "Lily, there's someone who would like to share something special with you and Thunder." Jack approached slowly, his steps heavy with the weight of memories. He stopped at a respectful distance and, to everyone's surprise, crouched down to be at Lily's eye level. "Little one," he began in a soft voice, very different from his usual harsh tone, "would you like to know Thunder's favorite song?" Lily, with the innocence of her age, momentarily forgot her caution. "Thunder has a favorite song?" Jack nodded, opening Linda's diary. His first trainer, a very special woman named Linda, discovered that Thunder loved this melody when he was a puppy. Sarah watched the scene cautiously, but there was something in Jack's vulnerability that made her lower her guard. Jessica, meanwhile, discreetly recorded the moment with her phone. Jack began to hum softly a sweet and simple melody. To everyone's amazement, Thunder perked up his ears and tilted his head, recognizing the tune. "Look, Mommy," Lily exclaimed excitedly, "Thunder is smiling." It was true. The German Shepherd was showing that particular expression that dog lovers recognize as a canine smile. "Linda," Jack continued, his voice trembling slightly, "believed that each dog had its own song in its heart. You just had to find it." He opened the old canvas bag and took out a worn but well-cared-for blue collar. This was his competition collar. Lily looked at the collar with fascination. "It's the color of superheroes," she whispered. "Linda believed in superheroes too." Jack smiled, and for a moment years of bitterness seemed to melt from his face. "She said that true superheroes are those who help others find their own strength." Thunder, as if understanding the importance of the moment, slowly approached Jack. The man extended his hand, allowing the dog to sniff it. The reunion was gentle, with no trace of the fear or tension that might have been expected. "Sir," Lily said with the direct honesty of children, "why was Thunder so sad at the market?" A heavy silence fell over the group. Sarah was about to intervene, but Jessica signaled her to wait. "Because I was sad, little one," Jack responded honestly. "And sometimes when humans are sad, we forget to care for those who need us most." Lily processed this information with the innate wisdom of children. "But now Thunder is happy," she declared, "and you can be happy too." Jack took something else out of the diary, a photograph of Linda with Thunder at his first competition. "Would you like to learn some of the special tricks Linda taught Thunder?" Lily's eyes lit up. "Really? Like the music and dancing?" "Exactly," Jack nodded. "Linda believed that training a dog was like dancing a waltz. It takes two hearts beating to the same rhythm." Sarah, observing the scene, noticed how Jessica discreetly wiped away a tear. The journalist had captured something that went beyond a simple story of redemption. It was the exact moment when past and present merged to heal old wounds. "Mr. Morrison," Sarah intervened softly, "would you like to help us prepare Thunder for the show?" Jack looked up, surprised by the offer. "After everything I did?" "Superheroes make mistakes too," Lily responded simply, taking Jack's hand and placing it on Thunder's head. "But they can always choose to do good." At that moment, a gentle breeze swept through the plaza, moving the pages of Linda's diary. Thunder, as if responding to an invisible signal, began to execute a series of movements that neither Lily nor Sarah had seen before, an elegant and fluid dance that spoke of years of loving training. "The memory of the heart," Jack murmured, watching Thunder move to the rhythm of music that only he seemed to hear. Linda always said that love leaves indelible marks. The Thompson family's backyard had been transformed into an improvised training area. Jack, with Linda's diary in hand, watched as Lily and Thunder practiced a new routine. Sarah and Michael had set up small obstacles and cones, recreating a modest agility circuit. "The secret is in mutual trust," Jack explained, his voice soft as he read Linda's notes. "It's not about giving orders, but dancing together." Lily, wearing her favorite flowery dress and sneakers, listened attentively. Thunder remained by her side, alert to every gesture of the little girl. "Linda started each session with a special ritual," Jack continued, pulling a small golden bell from his pocket. "The music marks the beginning of the dance." The soft tinkle of the bell seemed to awaken something in Thunder. His ears perked up and his posture changed, as if remembering old lessons etched in his muscle memory. "Now, Lily," Jack indicated, "hum the melody I taught you while walking with Thunder. Feel the rhythm in your heart." The girl began to hum softly, taking small dance steps. To everyone's amazement, Thunder moved in perfect sync with her, as if they shared an invisible connection. "Look!" exclaimed Mrs. Baker, who had come to witness the training. "It's exactly like in the old days." Jessica Parker, who was also present documenting the process, focused her camera on Lily's feet and Thunder's paws, capturing the unique choreography unfolding. "Linda called this the Heart's Waltz," Jack explained, leafing through the diary. "She said that when love guides the steps, even the simplest movement becomes poetry." Lily and Thunder began to navigate the obstacle course, but not in the traditional way. The girl danced around the cones, and Thunder followed her in a perfectly coordinated dance, jumping and turning, as if the obstacles were part of a natural choreography. "It's beautiful," Sarah sighed, recording with her phone. "I've never seen anything like this in a training routine." "Because it's not training," Jack gently corrected. "It's pure communication between two souls who trust each other." Dr. Anderson, who had arrived for Thunder's weekly checkup, observed with a clinical eye. "Thunder's posture is perfect, his coordination exceptional. But most importantly, his expression, he's genuinely happy." Lily paused for a moment to drink some water, and Thunder immediately sat down beside her, protective and attentive. The girl shared her bottle with him, pouring water into a small bowl. "Mr. Jack," Lily called, "can we see more photos of Mrs. Linda?" Jack hesitated for a moment, but then pulled out more photographs from the diary. In one of them, Linda appeared laughing while Thunder, then a puppy, licked her face. "She always said that medals mean nothing if there's no love in the journey," Jack remembered, his voice tinged with nostalgia. "Like superheroes," Lily nodded seriously. "They don't fight to win, they fight for love." Jessica discreetly approached Sarah. "This is more than a story of redemption," she whispered. "It's a life lesson we all need to learn." The training continued, but now there was something different in the atmosphere. Jack was no longer the bitter man from the market. In his place was a patient teacher who shared not only techniques, but also memories and love. For the finale of the routine, he explained, showing a diagram in the diary, Linda created something special. She called it the Angel's Embrace. Lily and Thunder practiced the new movement, a series of coordinated turns that culminated with Thunder gently encircling Lily, as if in a protective hug. "It's perfect," exclaimed Mrs. Baker, wiping away a tear, as if heaven itself had united them. Sarah noticed that Jack was also getting emotional watching the scene. "Mr. Morrison," she said softly. "Linda would be proud to see this." "She is," he replied, watching Lily and Thunder repeat the routine once more. "Somehow she is. Her love lives on in every step, in every melody." The afternoon wore on, and the sun painted the sky in golden hues. Lily and Thunder continued practicing, their elongated shadows dancing on the grass as if they were one. On Jack's face, a genuine smile had replaced years of bitterness as he held Linda's diary like a sacred treasure. "Tomorrow," he announced, carefully putting away the photographs, "I'll teach you the secret movement that Linda reserved for special occasions." Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement. "A secret movement like superheroes' special powers?" "Exactly," Jack nodded. "Because, as Linda used to say, love always has an ace up its sleeve." The morning began with a surprise. Jack arrived early at the Thompson house, carrying an old wooden box with the initials LM engraved on the lid. "Linda kept her most precious treasures here," he explained as everyone gathered in the garden. Lily, still in her pajamas but wide awake, watched with fascination. "What's inside?" she asked, while Thunder sniffed the box with interest. Jack opened the lid with reverent care. Inside, perfectly preserved, was a light blue performance outfit with silver details. "This was Thunder's special outfit for important competitions," Jack explained. "Linda designed it herself. She said a dancer needs the right costume for his grand performance." Sarah approached to examine the outfit. "It's beautiful," she murmured, touching the soft fabric, "and it seems to be in perfect condition." "Linda kept it waiting for the right moment," Jack responded. Then he pulled something else from the box, a small matching dress, the perfect size for a 5-year-old girl. Lily's eyes widened like saucers. "Is it for me?" "Linda was making it for our—" Jack stopped, emotional. "For a special girl who could continue her legacy. I think it's finally found its owner." Jessica, who had arrived to document the session, captured every moment with her camera. "This is more than a coincidence," she whispered to Sarah. "It's as if Linda had planned everything from heaven." After Lily tried on the dress, which fit her as if it had been made to measure, Jack proceeded to explain the secret movement. "Linda called it the Guardian Angel Dance," he said, opening the diary to a specific page. "It's more than a show trick. It's a story of love and protection." Over the next few hours, Lily and Thunder worked on the new routine. The movement began with Lily spinning gently, while Thunder circled around her in ever-tightening circles. Then, at a precise moment, the dog would rise on his hind legs, his front paws extended like protective wings around Lily. "It's magic!" exclaimed Mrs. Baker, who had brought cupcakes for everyone. "It's not magic," Jack corrected with a smile. "It's pure trust. Thunder knows Lily would never let him fall, and Lily trusts that Thunder will always protect her." Dr. Anderson, observing the practice, nodded with professional approval. "The connection between them is extraordinary. In all my years as a veterinarian, I've never seen anything like it." As the day progressed, the routine was perfected. Lily and Thunder moved as if they had been dancing together all their lives. The melody Jack had taught them floated in the air, hummed not only by Lily but by everyone present. "Linda would be so proud," Jack murmured, more to himself than to the others. not just of the routine but of seeing her dream realized, a dog and a girl united by pure love. During a break, Lily approached Jack with a question. "Mr. Jack, can angels see the shows?" The man crouched down to her level. "Of course they can, little one. In fact, I think they have the best seats." Then Lily continued with her childish logic. "Mrs. Linda will be watching us dance, right?" Jack had to make an effort to hold back tears. "Yes, my child, and I'm sure she'll be applauding louder than anyone." Sarah, observing the scene, approached Jessica. "Do you think we should worry about the custody lawsuit?" The journalist smiled. "Look at his face when he sees Lily with Thunder. He's not the same man who filed that lawsuit. Love has mysterious ways of healing wounded hearts." At the end of the day, as everyone helped put away the practice implements, Lily fell asleep on the couch, exhausted but happy. Thunder lay at her feet, protective as always. "You know," Jack said to Sarah, as he put away Linda's diary, "for years I thought I had lost everything when Linda left, but now I see that her love never really left. It was just waiting for the right moment to bloom again." "Through a girl who sees with her heart," Sarah completed. "And a dog who never forgot how to love," Jack added, looking at Thunder with new eyes. The show was getting closer, but the outcome didn't matter as much anymore. Something more important had been gained in that garden, the healing of old wounds and the birth of new hopes, all to the rhythm of a melody that seemed to come straight from heaven. A week before the show, unexpected news shook the tranquility that had settled into the Thompson family's life. Jessica arrived early at the house, her normally serene face showing concern. "They've changed the rules of the show," she announced without preamble, showing an email on her tablet. "The National Canine Training Association has decided to turn it into an official competitive event." Sarah and Michael exchanged worried looks, while Jack, who had arrived for the daily practice, took the tablet to read the details. "This changes everything," he murmured, running a hand through his graying hair. "The judges will be professionals from the national circuit. The routines will be evaluated under competition standards." Lily, who was playing with Thunder in the garden, noticed the tension in the adults. "What's wrong, Mommy? Can't we dance with Thunder?" Sarah knelt beside her daughter. "Of course you can, sweetheart. It's just going to be a little different from what we thought." Dr. Anderson, who had come for Thunder's weekly checkup, intervened with his characteristic calm. "Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Remember what Linda always said about competitions?" Jack nodded, taking out the diary. "That the best moments happen when we least expect them." He flipped through the pages until he found a specific entry. Linda wrote this after her first official competition. "Pressure can turn coal into diamonds, but only if there's love in the process." "But Lily is so young," Sarah protested. "We can't subject her to that pressure." The girl, who had been listening attentively, approached Thunder and began to pet him. "Thunder isn't afraid," she declared with the simplicity of innocence, "and neither am I." Jessica, who had been filming discreetly, captured the exact moment when Thunder rested his head on Lily's shoulder, as if offering his support. "Besides," the girl continued, "Mrs. Linda is watching us from heaven. We can't disappoint her." Jack felt something stir inside him. Lily's right. Linda always said that the true spirit of competition isn't about winning, but about giving your best. "But we'll need to intensify the training," he warned. "The routine we've been practicing is beautiful, but we'll have to add technical elements to meet the competition requirements." "Like more superhero tricks?" Lily asked, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. Jack couldn't help but smile. "Exactly. Movements that showcase Thunder's agility and technique, but without losing the magic of your special connection." Over the next few hours, the garden became a laboratory of ideas. Dr. Anderson suggested exercises to strengthen Thunder's endurance, while Jessica used her contacts to gather information about the judges and their evaluation criteria. Sarah and Michael worked on adapting the costumes. Thunder's light blue outfit needed some adjustments to comply with official regulations, and Lily's dress required modifications to allow for greater freedom of movement. "Look at this," Jack said, showing another page from the diary. Linda designed a special sequence that she never got to present in competition. She called it Symphony of the Heart. The diagrams showed a series of complex but beautiful movements where the dog and its handler created a dance that combined technique and emotion. "It's perfect," Mrs. Baker sighed, who had arrived with her traditional basket of cupcakes. "But can they learn it in a week?" "With Lily, anything is possible," Jack replied with a confidence that surprised everyone, including himself. "She has the same gift as Linda. She sees with her heart." The practice began immediately. The new routine was challenging, but Lily and Thunder approached it with unwavering determination. Each fall was followed by laughter and hugs, each achievement celebrated with genuine joy. "You know what's most extraordinary?" Jessica commented to Sarah as she filmed. "Lily isn't dancing to win a competition, she's dancing for love." As evening fell, while everyone shared Mrs. Baker's cupcakes, Lily approached Jack with a question. "Mr. Jack, do you think Mrs. Linda will be nervous for us?" The man smiled, his eyes moistening slightly. "No, little one, she's smiling because she knows her dream is in the right hands." Night was beginning to fall over the garden, but no one wanted to leave. There was a special energy in the air, a mixture of determination and hope. The competition might have changed the rules of the game, but it couldn't change the most important thing: the pure love between a girl and her dog, and the legacy of a woman who believed in the healing power of that love. The night before the competition, a special energy enveloped the Thompson house. Sarah was sewing the final details of Lily's dress, while Michael adjusted Thunder's ceremonial collar, that beautiful memento of Linda that now shone like new. "Are you nervous?" asked Jessica, who had come to document the final preparations. Her camera captured the intimate moments of this very special eve. Lily, sitting on the floor next to Thunder, shook her head as she brushed the German Shepherd's shiny coat. "Superheroes don't get nervous, right, Thunder?" The dog responded with a soft bark that sounded almost like a confirmation. Jack arrived with a special box. During the last week, he had been more present than ever, transformed by the magic that Lily and Thunder radiated in every rehearsal. "I have something special for tomorrow," he announced, carefully opening the box. Inside were 2 blue ribbons, identical in color to the performance outfit. "Linda had these made for her last competition," he explained, his voice soft with the weight of memories. "She never got to use them." "They're beautiful," Mrs. Baker sighed, who had come with a tray of hot chocolate and sweet bread. "As if heaven had woven them with stars." Jack knelt in front of Lily. "One is for your hair," he said, handing her one of the ribbons, "and the other is for Thunder." He showed how the second ribbon could be elegantly tied to the dog's collar. "Now they're matching," Lily smiled, admiring how the ribbons shone under the living room light. Dr. Anderson, who had come for a final checkup on Thunder, observed the scene with professional satisfaction. "Thunder is at his best," he declared. "Physically he's perfect, but most importantly is his emotional state. I've never seen him so happy and balanced." Sarah finished the last stitches on the dress and held it up. The light blue seemed to capture the light in a special way, the silver details adding a magical touch. "Lily," Jessica called softly, "can I ask you a question for the report? What do you feel when you dance with Thunder?" The girl thought for a moment, her face lighting up with a smile. "It's like we're flying together," she responded, "as if Thunder and I were angels dancing in the clouds." Jack had to turn away to hide his tears. They were exactly the same words Linda used to describe her connection with the dogs. "Tomorrow," Lily continued, "we'll dance for all the puppies who need love. Right, Thunder?" The German Shepherd rested his head on the girl's lap, his eyes full of adoration. Michael, who had been reviewing the last logistical details, joined the group. "Everything's ready for tomorrow, the transport, the papers, the schedules." "There's just one thing left," Jack interrupted, taking out Linda's diary. "The last night tradition." Everyone gathered in a circle as Jack read a special entry from the diary. "The night before a performance is sacred. It's not a time for practice but for connection. It's when hearts tune in to dance together the next day." Lily, who had been yawning, cuddled up next to Thunder. "Can we sleep together tonight?" Sarah and Michael exchanged glances. It wasn't usual, but this wasn't a usual night. "Just for tonight," Sarah agreed, and Thunder, as if understanding the special permission, followed Lily upstairs with a soft step and guardian dignity. "I'll tell you a secret," Jack said as they picked up things. The night before each competition, Linda would sit with her dogs and sing them lullabies. She said sweet dreams made for more beautiful dances. As if on cue, from upstairs came Lily's voice, softly humming the melody Jack had taught them. Thunder responded with soft, melodic whimpers, creating a unique and moving duet. "Love has its own music," Mrs. Baker murmured, wiping away a tear. Jessica put away her camera, understanding that there are moments too sacred to be filmed. "Tomorrow will be a special day," she said, "not because of the competition itself, but because of what it represents." "A new beginning," Jack nodded, caressing the cover of Linda's diary. "For all of us." The night enveloped the house in a mantle of serenity, while upstairs a girl and her dog dreamed of angels dancing in the clouds, their blue ribbons shining like twin stars in the darkness. The Seattle Convention Center gleamed under the morning sun. Colorful flags waved at the entrance, and a huge banner announced National Canine Training Championship, Special Edition. The parking lot was filled with vehicles from all over the country, and the air vibrated with a mix of excited barks and festive music. Lily, resplendent in her light blue dress and Linda's ribbon in her hair, firmly held Thunder's leash as they entered the venue. The German Shepherd, impeccably groomed and with his matching ribbon on his collar, walked with a natural elegance that turned heads. "Look at all the puppies, Mommy," Lily exclaimed, her eyes shining at the sight of dozens of dogs of all breeds and sizes preparing for the competition. Sarah, Michael, and Jack followed closely behind, carrying a small bag with necessary items. Jessica was already inside, moving among the participants with her camera, documenting the event for her special report. "Participants in the junior category, please register at the main desk," announced a voice over the loudspeakers. As they approached the registration desk, the attendant looked at Lily with surprise. "Age of the participant? 5 years old," Sarah responded proudly. "But the minimum is 7 years," the woman began, frowning as she reviewed her papers. "Excuse me," a familiar voice intervened. It was Dr. Anderson, who appeared wearing an official event credential. "As a certified veterinarian of the association, I can confirm that this pair has a special dispensation. Here's the documentation." The woman reviewed the papers Dr. Anderson handed her, her eyes widening with surprise as she read. "Is this the famous Valley Champion?" she asked, looking at Thunder with new interest. "Now he's called Thunder," Lily corrected sweetly, "and he's my guardian angel." As they completed the registration, other competitors began to gather around, murmuring and pointing. Some recognized Thunder from his glory days. Others had seen Jessica's news report. "Is it true you're going to perform Linda Morrison's routine?" asked a veteran trainer approaching Jack. "No," he responded with a serene smile. "Lily and Thunder will perform their own routine inspired by Linda's love." The loudspeakers sounded again. "All participants to the technical meeting. The competition will begin in 1 hour." The group headed to the warm-up area, where other dogs and their handlers were practicing last-minute details. Lily, however, simply sat quietly with Thunder, sharing a moment of peace amidst the bustle. "Remember the song, Thunder?" she whispered, beginning to softly hum Linda's melody. The dog rested his head on the girl's lap, his eyes full of trust and love. Mrs. Baker, who had arrived with a small crowd from the market, was handing out St. Francis of Assisi medals among the spectators. "So that the patron saint of animals may bless them," she explained with her unshakable faith. The judges began to take their places at the main table. There were 5 internationally recognized experts with serious expressions and evaluation sheets in their hands. "Lily," Jack called, kneeling in front of the girl. Before each performance, Linda had a special tradition. He took the small golden bell from his pocket. 3 rings, 1 for love, 1 for trust, and 1 for magic. The soft tinkle of the bell seemed to create a bubble of calm around them. Thunder perked up his ears, his posture subtly transforming from relaxed to elegant. "Participant number 1, to the ring," announced the voice. Lily stood up, smoothing her dress carefully. "Mr. Jack." "Yes, little one." "Mrs. Linda, do you think she'll be proud of us, even if we don't win?" Jack felt his heart expand with love and pride. "Lily, she's already proud, because you're dancing with your heart." Sarah approached to give her daughter one last hug. "Remember, my love, no matter what happens out there, you and Thunder are already champions." The first chords of music began to sound in the auditorium, marking the official start of the competition. Lily and Thunder would wait their turn, but something in the atmosphere suggested that they were about to witness something extraordinary, something that went beyond a simple training routine. It was the dance of love, about to unfold before the eyes of the world. "Participant number 15, Lily Thompson with Thunder," announced the voice over the loudspeakers. The auditorium, which had been politely applauding the other participants, fell into an expectant silence. Lily and Thunder entered the central ring, their matching blue ribbons shining under the stage lights. The girl walked with the natural grace of innocence, while Thunder moved beside her with the elegance of an experienced dancer. Sarah squeezed Michael's hand in the stands. Jack, standing next to the ring, held Linda's diary against his chest like a talisman. Jessica had strategically positioned several cameras to not miss a moment of the presentation. The youngest participant in the competition will present an original routine, the announcer explained. A unique collaboration between the tradition of professional training and a child's pure love for her dog. Lily took her initial position in the center of the ring. Thunder sat beside her, perfectly aligned. The small golden bell tinkled 3 times in the silence of the auditorium, for love, for trust, and for magic. The music began softly, a melody that blended the song Linda used to hum with a sweet lullaby. Lily and Thunder began their dance, and from the first movement, it was evident that this would be something different. It wasn't a traditional obedience routine. It was a love story told through movement. Lily didn't command Thunder, she danced with him. The German Shepherd didn't follow orders. He responded to love with grace and elegance. The technical elements were there. The precise jumps, the coordinated turns, the perfect synchronization. But there was something more. Something that made even the most severe judges lean forward in their seats. "It's like seeing Linda again," whispered a veteran trainer among the audience, but with a new childlike purity. The routine progressed, each movement flowing naturally into the next. Lily hummed softly as she danced, her voice blending with the music. Thunder responded to every note, every gesture, as if he could read the girl's heart. Then came the moment for the secret movement, the guardian angel dance. Lily began to spin gently in the center of the ring, her arms extended like small wings. Thunder circled around her in ever-tightening circles, his movements perfectly synchronized with hers. The audience held their breath as Thunder rose on his hind legs. At that precise moment, the auditorium lights created an astonishing effect. The shadows of Lily and Thunder on the ground seemed to merge into the silhouette of a single dancing angel. Mrs. Baker, through tears, whispered, "Look, Linda is dancing with them." And it really seemed so. There was a third presence in that dance, invisible but palpable. Every movement carried the signature of Linda's love, transformed and renewed through Lily's purity. The routine reached its climax with the symphony of the heart. Thunder and Lily executed a series of movements that intertwined technique and emotion, each step a declaration of mutual love and trust. The audience, captivated, had forgotten they were at a competition. For the finale, Lily and Thunder performed the movement that Jack had never seen completed. Thunder encircled Lily with a fluid motion, and together they created an image that seemed straight out of a fairy tale. The girl and her guardian angel, united in an eternal dance of love and protection. The music faded, and for a moment the auditorium remained in complete silence. Then, like a wave, the ovation began. It wasn't just applause, it was tears, smiles, hugs between strangers who had shared something extraordinary. The judges, known for their stoicism, were discreetly wiping their eyes. One of them, the most veteran, stood up, something unprecedented in the competition's history. Lily and Thunder remained in the center of the ring, the girl hugging the dog while he gently licked her cheeks. They didn't seem aware of the tumult around them. In their world, only the two of them existed, and the music of love that continued to play in their hearts. Jack, with tears freely running down his face, looked up and whispered, "You did it, Linda. Your love is still dancing." The afternoon sun painted Pike Place Market in golden hues, very different from that grey day when Lily first found Thunder. A week had passed since the competition, and the market was unrecognizable. Garlands of blue flowers adorned the stalls, and photographs of Lily and Thunder during their performance decorated the walls. Sarah's flower stand had become the center of a small revolution. Alongside the usual bouquets, there was now a special area dedicated to responsible pet adoption, organized in collaboration with the city's adoption center. "Another home found," Mrs. Baker announced joyfully, as a family walked away with a small rescued mutt. It was the 10th successful adoption of the week. Lily and Thunder, wearing their gold medals, the judges had created a special category called Spirit of Love specifically for them, greeted every visitor to the market. The little girl had become a sort of informal ambassador for animal welfare, sharing her simple but profound wisdom with other children. "Did you know that every puppy has a song in its heart?" she explained to a girl admiring Thunder. "You just have to listen with love." Jack, transformed by recent events, had converted his old warehouse into a canine training center based on Linda's method. "The Guardian Angel School," read the new sign with an image of Lily and Thunder as the logo. "Classes are full until next month," Jessica commented, who had arrived to film a follow-up to her report. Her original story had gone viral, inspiring similar initiatives in other cities. Dr. Anderson, now an official advisor to the new center, supervised both the physical and emotional health of the participating dogs. "It's extraordinary," he commented while examining a new canine student. "Dogs respond to love in a way that science is only beginning to understand." Sarah and Michael proudly watched as their little daughter had become a beacon of hope for the community. Linda's diary, carefully preserved, had become a training manual that combined technique and love, with new pages added by Lily and Jack. "You know what's most beautiful?" Sarah commented to her husband. "Lily is still simply Lily, a girl who loves her dog." The afternoon gave way to a special celebration in the Central Plaza. The community had gathered to inaugurate a new space, the Guardian Angels Garden, a park dedicated to the connection between humans and animals. In the center, a beautiful sculpture showed a girl and a dog dancing, their shadows forming angel wings. During the ceremony, Lily stepped up to a small podium with Thunder faithfully by her side. Her clear, sweet voice resonated across the plaza. "Superheroes don't always wear capes," she said, repeating the words that were now famous throughout the city. "Sometimes they have 4 paws and a heart full of love." Jack, standing next to the Thompson family, held Linda's diary. He opened it to the last page, where there was a new entry written in childish handwriting. "Dear Mrs. Linda, Thunder and I dance with your love every day. And now, many more puppies and people are learning to dance too. Can you see us from heaven? I hope you're smiling. With love, Lily." The sunset bathed the plaza in a special light as families and their pets enjoyed the new space. Thunder and Lily, inseparable as always, played with other children and dogs, sharing that special magic that had transformed not only their lives, but those of an entire community. "True love," Linda had written in her diary, "never really ends. It just changes form and keeps on dancing." And so in a market in Seattle, where once a sad dog found the love of a little girl, a new story began each day. A story that reminded everyone that miracles exist, that angels sometimes have 4 paws, and that love in its purest form has the power to transform the world one heart at a time. As the weeks passed, the impact of Lily and Thunder's story continued to grow. The Guardian Angel School had become a landmark in Seattle, attracting visitors from all over the country who wanted to learn the unique training method based on love and connection. Jack, once bitter and reclusive, had found a new purpose in life. He spent his days teaching others the principles Linda had developed, always with Lily and Thunder as his star pupils and living examples of the method's success. One particularly sunny afternoon, as Lily and Thunder were demonstrating a new routine for a group of aspiring trainers, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the school. A well-dressed woman stepped out, her eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses. "Can I help you?" Sarah asked, approaching the newcomer. The woman removed her sunglasses, revealing kind eyes that seemed to hold a hint of sadness. "My name is Amanda Holbrook. I'm a producer for a national television network. We've heard about the amazing work being done here and, well, we'd like to make a documentary about Lily and Thunder." Sarah's protective instincts immediately kicked in. "I'm not sure." But before she could finish, Lily came running over, Thunder at her heels. "Mommy, Thunder says the lady needs our help." Amanda looked startled. "He says?" Lily nodded seriously. "Not with words, silly. With his heart. That's how we talk." Amanda knelt down to Lily's level, her professional demeanor softening. "And what else does Thunder say about me?" Lily put her hand on Thunder's head, closing her eyes for a moment, as if in deep concentration. "He says you have a sad puppy at home, one that doesn't know how to dance yet." Amanda's eyes widened in surprise. She hadn't told anyone about the troubled rescue dog she had recently adopted. That's true. How did you—" Jack, who had been observing the interaction, stepped forward. That's the magic of Linda's method. It's not just about training dogs. It's about opening our hearts to truly communicate with them. Amanda stood up, visibly moved. This is even more extraordinary than I imagined. Mr. Morrison, Mrs. Thompson, I know you must be protective of Lily, but I believe sharing your story could help so many people and animals. Would you at least consider it? Sarah and Michael exchanged glances, then looked at Jack. He nodded slowly. Linda always said that love multiplies when it's shared. Maybe this is the next step in her legacy. Over the next few months, the documentary team became a familiar presence at the Guardian Angel School and in the Thompsons' life. They captured the daily training sessions, the joyful adoptions at the market, and the quiet moments of connection between Lily and Thunder. The film crew was there when a group of war veterans visited the school, their service dogs in tow. Many of these tough men and women were moved to tears as they watched Lily guide them through exercises designed to deepen their bond with their canine partners. They filmed the day when the mayor of Seattle officially declared Guardian Angel Day, an annual event to promote animal welfare and the human-animal bond. Lily and Thunder led a parade through the city, followed by hundreds of people and their pets, all wearing blue ribbons in honor of Linda's legacy. But perhaps the most touching moment came unexpectedly. On a quiet evening at the Thompson home, the camera was rolling as Lily sat with Thunder, looking through Linda's diary. "Mr. Jack," she called out, "there's a page stuck together here." Jack carefully separated the pages, revealing a letter that had been hidden for years. As he read it aloud, his voice choked with emotion. "My dearest Jack, if you're reading this, it means I'm no longer with you. But please know that my love for you, for our dogs, and for the work we do together will never die. It will live on in every wagging tail, every happy bark, and every moment of connection between humans and their canine friends. I have a final wish. Find a child with a pure heart, someone who can see the magic in a dog's eyes the way we always have. Teach them everything we know, and let them carry our legacy forward. Remember, my love, that even when the music seems to have stopped, the dance goes on in our hearts. Forever yours, Linda." The room was silent except for the soft sound of Lily's sniffles. She hugged Thunder tightly, burying her face in his fur. "We did it, didn't we, Thunder? We made Mrs. Linda's wish come true." Thunder responded with a gentle lick to her cheek, his eyes reflecting a wisdom far beyond human understanding. Amanda, who had been filming the scene, lowered her camera, wiping away her own tears. "This isn't just a story about a girl and her dog," she said softly. "It's about the enduring power of love, the connections that transcend species and even death. It's about hope." As the documentary neared completion, word spread about the upcoming premiere. Animal shelters across the country began reporting increased adoption rates, with many people specifically asking for dogs that needed to learn how to dance. The Guardian Angel method was being implemented in therapy programs, schools, and even some correctional facilities, all reporting remarkable results in improving emotional well-being and fostering empathy. On the night of the premiere, the Seattle Symphony Hall was packed. Lily, dressed in a new blue dress that sparkled under the lights, walked the red carpet with Thunder by her side. They were followed by Jack, Sarah, Michael, Dr. Anderson, Mrs. Baker, and all the people who had been part of their journey. As the lights dimmed and the film began to roll, a hush fell over the audience. For the next 2 hours they laughed, cried, and marveled at the extraordinary story of a little girl, a once-forgotten dog, and the legacy of love that had transformed countless lives. The final scene showed Lily and Thunder back at Pike Place Market, where their story had begun. As they danced among the flower stalls, their movements perfectly synchronized, Lily's voice carried over the music. "Every heart has a song," she said, "and when we learn to listen, really listen, we can all dance together in harmony." As the credits rolled, the audience rose in a standing ovation. But Lily was oblivious to the applause. She was too busy hugging Thunder, whispering in his ear, "We did good, didn't we, boy?" Thunder's soft woof of agreement was all the answer she needed. Outside the symphony hall, a soft breeze carried flower petals from nearby trees, swirling them in a dance that seemed to echo Lily and Thunder's movements. And if one looked closely, they might have sworn they saw the faint outline of a woman smiling down from the stars, her love continuing to guide the dance that had only just begun. In the months following the documentary's premiere, The impact of Lily and Thunder's story spread far beyond Seattle. Animal shelters across the country reported record adoption rates, with many new pet owners expressing a desire to form the kind of bond they had witnessed on screen. The Guardian Angel School expanded, opening branches in several major cities. Jack found himself traveling frequently, teaching Linda's methods to eager students of all ages. But he always made sure to return to Seattle regularly, never wanting to miss Lily and Thunder's progress. One crisp autumn morning, as leaves of gold and red danced on the breeze, a sleek limousine pulled up in front of the Thompson house. Sarah peered out the window, her brow furrowed with curiosity. "Michael," she called to her husband, "there's someone important here to see us." As they stepped onto the porch, a distinguished-looking woman emerged from the car. Her silver hair was elegantly coiffed, and she carried herself with an air of quiet authority. "Mr. and Mrs. Thompson," she inquired with a warm smile. "I'm Senator Elizabeth Hartley. I was hoping I might have a word with you. And with Lily and Thunder, of course." Sarah and Michael exchanged surprised glances. "Of course, Senator," Michael replied, ushering her inside. "Lily's in the backyard with Thunder. They're always practicing." As they made their way through the house, the sound of Lily's laughter and Thunder's playful barks grew louder. When they stepped into the backyard, they found Lily and Thunder engaged in what looked like a new routine, a graceful series of twirls and leaps that seemed to defy gravity. Senator Hartley watched in awe. "It's even more remarkable in person," she murmured. Lily, noticing their audience, gave a final twirl and then ran to greet them, Thunder at her heels. "Hello," she chirped brightly. "Thunder says you have a kind heart but a worried mind. Can we help?" The senator looked startled for a moment, then chuckled softly. "Your daughter's perceptiveness is quite something," she said to Sarah and Michael. Kneeling down to Lily's level, she continued, "You're right, Lily. I am worried, and I'm hoping you and Thunder might be able to help." Over cups of hot cocoa and a bowl of water for Thunder, Senator Hartley explained her visit. "I've been working on a bill to improve animal welfare across the country," she began, "but it's been meeting a lot of resistance. Some people don't understand the importance of the human-animal bond, especially in these troubled times." Lily listened intently, absently stroking Thunder's ears. "But that's silly," she said finally. "Don't they know that love makes everything better?" The senator smiled. "That's exactly what I've been trying to tell them, and that's why I'm here. Lily, Thunder, I'd like to invite you to Washington, D.C. to speak before Congress." The adults in the room gasped, but Lily just tilted her head thoughtfully. "Can Thunder dance there?" she asked seriously. "I think that could be arranged," the senator replied, her eyes twinkling. And so, a few weeks later, Lily Thompson and Thunder found themselves standing before the United States Congress. The chamber was packed, with every seat filled and people lining the walls. News cameras whirred softly in the background. Lily, wearing a new blue dress that sparkled under the lights, stepped up to the microphone. Thunder sat regally beside her, his blue ribbon gleaming against his shiny coat. "Hello," Lily began, her clear voice ringing through the chamber. "My name is Lily, and this is my best friend, Thunder. We're here to talk to you about love." For the next hour, Lily spoke from her heart about the transformative power of the bond between humans and animals. She told stories of veterans finding peace through their service dogs, of lonely elderly people finding companionship in shelter pets, of troubled youth learning empathy and responsibility through animal care programs. And then, as a finale, Lily and Thunder performed their dance. As they moved in perfect harmony, their shadows on the wall behind them seemed to take on a life of their own, forming shapes that looked remarkably like angels' wings. When they finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the chamber. The applause was thunderous, lasting for several minutes. In the days that followed, the Guardian Angel Bill passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. It allocated significant funding for animal welfare programs, support for service animal training, and the implementation of humane education in schools nationwide. But the impact didn't stop there. Inspired by Lily and Thunder's performance, other countries began to reach out, asking for guidance in implementing similar programs. The United Nations even declared an International Year of the Human-Animal Bond, with Lily and Thunder as its ambassadors. As their influence grew, so did the challenges. There were those who criticized the attention given to animals, when there were so many human problems in the world. But Lily, with wisdom beyond her years, always had the same response. Kindness isn't a limited resource, she would say. The more we give, the more we have to give. When we learn to love and care for animals, we become better at loving and caring for each other too. Years passed and Lily grew from a precocious child into a poised young woman. Thunder, though graying around the muzzle, remained by her side, their bond as strong as ever. Together they continued to travel the world, teaching Linda's methods and spreading their message of love and connection. On Thunder's 15th birthday, a milestone for a German Shepherd, Lily organized a special celebration at Pike Place Market, where their journey had begun. The market was decorated with blue ribbons and flowers, and people came from far and wide to join the festivities. As Lily and Thunder performed one of their signature dances, moving a bit slower now but with no less grace, Jack watched from the sidelines, Linda's diary clutched to his chest. "You'd be so proud, Linda," he whispered. "Your love has changed the world." And as the music swelled and Lily and Thunder took their final bow, a warm breeze swept through the market, carrying with it the scent of flowers and the faint echo of a loving laugh. For those who knew how to listen, the message was clear. The dance of love never truly ends. It just keeps finding new partners, new rhythms, new ways to move hearts and change lives. And somewhere beyond the veil of stars, Linda was smiling, knowing that her legacy lived on in every beat of that eternal dance. As the sun set on that memorable day, casting a golden glow over Pike Place Market, Lily and Thunder sat together on a quiet bench, watching the world go by. Despite the grand celebration and the many lives they had touched, this moment of peaceful connection was what they treasured most. "You know, Thunder," Lily mused, her fingers gently combing through his graying fur, "I sometimes wonder what Mrs. Linda would think of all we've accomplished." Thunder's warm brown eyes met hers, filled with understanding and love. He didn't need words to communicate. Their bond transcended language. Jack approached, Linda's diary in hand as always. "I think I might have an answer for that, Lily," he said softly, sitting down beside them. He opened the diary to a page he had bookmarked. "I found this entry from Linda, written not long before she passed. I think it's time you heard it." Clearing his throat, Jack began to read. "My dearest Jack, and to the special soul who I know will one day continue our work. Dreams are curious things. They can be fleeting wisps that fade with the morning light, or they can be seeds that, when nurtured with love and determination, grow into mighty trees that provide shelter and sustenance for generations to come. Our dream, this dance of love between humans and animals, it's more than just a training method or a way to win competitions. It's a reminder of the interconnectedness of all living beings, a bridge between worlds that often seem so far apart. To whoever is reading this now, carrying on our legacy, know this. Every time you help a child understand the language of a dog's wagging tail, every time you show a troubled soul the healing power of a purring cat, every time you demonstrate the grace and beauty of moving in harmony with an animal partner, you're not just changing individual lives. You are shifting the very fabric of our world stitch by stitch towards something kinder, more compassionate, more whole. There will be challenges. There will be those who don't understand, who can't see the value in what you do. But remember, the most powerful force in the universe is love. And love, like a well-choreographed dance, has the power to transform not just the dancers, but all who witness it. So dance on, my dear ones. Dance with joy, with purpose, with every fiber of your being. For in this dance, we find our truest selves and our deepest connections. With all my love today and always, Linda." As Jack finished reading, there wasn't a dry eye among them. Even Thunder seemed to be listening intently, his head tilted as if hearing Linda's words directly. Lily wiped her eyes, a smile breaking through her tears. "Oh, Thunder," she said, hugging her faithful friend close. "We've been dancing Linda's dance all along, haven't we?" Jack nodded, his own eyes misty. "You two have taken Linda's dream further than she could have ever imagined. You've turned it into a worldwide movement." As if on cue, a young girl approached them shyly, her own rescue dog at her side. "Excuse me, Miss Lily," she asked hesitantly. Could you teach us how to dance?" Lily's face lit up with joy. "Of course. There's always room for more in this dance." She stood up, Thunder immediately at attention beside her. "Oh, what's your name, sweetie?" "Hope," the girl replied with a smile. "And this is my dog, Chance." "Well, Hope and Chance," Lily said, her eyes twinkling. "Let's start with the most important step of all, listening to each other's hearts." As Lily began to guide Hope and Chance through the basics of their heart-centered method, more people gathered around, drawn by the magic of the moment. Soon, the quiet corner of the market had turned into an impromptu dance floor, filled with humans and dogs of all shapes and sizes, moving together in a joyful, if slightly chaotic harmony. Jack watched from the bench, Linda's diary open on his lap. "Oh, Linda," he murmured, "if you could see this now. Your dance has become a symphony." And as the night deepened and stars began to twinkle overhead, the music of love continued to play, a timeless melody that echoed through the market, through the city, and out into the world beyond. For those with ears to hear and hearts to feel, it was a reminder that every life has its own unique rhythm, and when those rhythms come together in love and understanding, miracles can happen. The dance that began with a lonely girl and an abandoned dog had become a worldwide movement, a testament to the enduring power of compassion, connection, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. And somewhere, beyond the veil of stars, Linda danced too, her love continuing to guide and inspire all those who chose to listen to the music of their hearts.